has no money.
I chose to travel on a tour of this nature just for safety's sake. And I'm expecting to see extreme poverty, but I think there's beauty in everything.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had mobile phones and scooters and that sort of things.
Past the ridge, there's a hook in the wall I swear looks exactly like the one I talked about in my Ironlung video. There's no law, no importance. I just thought it was funny to point out. When you pass the chasm and reach the village, you can talk to the locals. One of them is seeming to be a member of the swamp cult that we just dealt with.
Did you know the owner of that shitty little farmhouse? He's always whining and not doing anything. I've been living here for 5 years. I'm always prepared for the worst, planning on slaughtering all the freaks living in that mine. I'm writing a book on my experiences. It's called The Destruction of Virility, Doom Anus Apocalypse. This is the life for me, here in the countryside. I will never go back to the city.
It seems that countrysides in this world have basically been reduced to swamps and bogs. Truly a shock to anyone who think it'd look like the Windows XP wallpaper. Going down to the owner of the farmhouse he mentioned, we can speak to him as well.
It's only me left in this household now. Every night, they come and take someone. I don't know where or why. I used to live here with my wife and our bull housemate. We never had much, but it was a simple and carefree life. I'm thinking about killing myself before they come for me. Sorry for being so direct, but you haven't seen them. I used to be a corporate big shot, but that life just wasn't for me. I bought this nice house and settled down. Things only started getting bad during the last couple of months. The soil turned foul, got a fleshy, rotten smell to it. All of our crops died. Then those things started harassing us. Not just my family, but everyone else living in the region. It gradually got worse and worse, and now everyone's gone. We did it, guys. We reached 5 million subs. As promised, I will cosplay hyperinflated, gassy Tali Zora Naraya Vos Normandy.
It seems something invasive has taken over the village, with only a few people left now. What's more concerning, leaving the house, something happens in Cruelty Squad that's never happened before, and that's really saying something for this game. Your perspective changes to a POV of a sniper sat on a ridge with their sights on you. This is a pretty common trope in video games, of you being put in the perspective of someone targeting you. It creates a huge feeling of urgency or needing to get into cover. But the weird thing is, the sniper never fires, and as soon as you try to get a good look at them, they despawn, only to reappear again when you walk into their sights. The sniper will never actually fire unless you fire your own weapon, and because you're unarmed as soon as you walk into their sights, you can't hurt them. You're only hurting yourself. One shot will half your health, and the next will definitely kill you. Weirdest of all, if you press the button to drop your weapon, the sniper will instead drop their rifle on the ground for you to pick up, only for them to get another rifle when you go back into their sights. You can do this as many times as you want, so there's like 50 sniper rifles lying on the floor. This is the part where I do a pseudo deep analysis of the Cruelty Squad agent's mind breaking down, thinking he's been targeted by people that aren't there, but I know that isn't the reason. Mostly because the Cruelty Squad community have gaslit themselves into justifying it's just a feature, quotation marks, and nothing else. What's already apparent about this game is some things in this universe will never make sense. Like how right next to where the sniper should be, there's a button that raises an elevator out of the ground made of skulls. Not everything makes sense, and you'll probably never find out why. And that's exactly what interests me the most about this game. Pushing deeper into the village, you can see a house, but instead of being greeted by an NPC, it's someone who's been zombified, meaning we're on the right track to finding out what happened in the mines. The entrance to said mine is being protected by a golem, but more importantly, the swamp cultists we saw previously, who I still personally think are police that defected to escape the cities. They also have their own variant of the shock troopers we saw in the Alpine Resort. They don't act any differently, and they use the same weaponry, but it shows the cult are able to repurpose technology to suit themselves. Inside the mines, you can find what ore they've been scavenging. They're shaped like precious gems, but they pulsate like flesh. This could be pure biocurrency, the economy that fuels Cruelty Squad. Possibly there's some still naturally occurring in the world that the mega corporations haven't seized yet. Delving even deeper into the mines, it actually ends up becoming more civilized, with windowed arches and even chandeliers. There's a whole community of people living down here, and talking to them, the first thing you'll realize is how massively oversized their heads are.
Our stock value is going parabolic. It's an incredible spectacle. You bought some, right? After G-Tech imploded, it was simple for us to take over the food industry.
They seem to be talking negatively about G-Tech, a company that's listed on the stock market as a hot new startup looking to revolutionize computing and food. Now, remember that we killed the G-Tech higher-ups in the Paradise mission, which caused the company to plummet in value and flatline. Scrolling down the market, you can see Vejo's Meatoids, saying it's a mysterious newcomer in the vegan meat industry. Competition of G-Tech's food business. Vejo's stock market skyrockets once you kill the G-Tech staff in Paradise. I believe that these people run Vejo's Meatoids, and this is pretty much confirmed by one of them commenting on their product.
Vegan meat? Huh. Are you on your way to the DNA scrambler?
There's definitely something more sinister here, especially how dire some of the people sound after talking to them for a while.
My doctor diagnosed me with full spectrum mental illness, FSMI. I was sent here to recover. Honestly, best thing that ever happened to me. I'm praying. I've become lost.
The game files call these people fleshmen. Some of them aren't as friendly and actually will attack you on sight. You'd think with the oversized heads that'd be easy, just shoot them in the head. But these enemies have one nasty trick up their sleeve. If you give the body, they have a chance to drop the worm brain, a unique organ crawling with lab-grown parasites, meaning that these people are just victims of the outbreak from pharmacokinetics. And it seems that from that outbreak, they've started their own society. But apart from the brain, another thing happens. A live flesh rat will jump out the remains of the body and start attacking you. This can be chaos if you go into a room and start accidentally giving bodies. An easy enemy on their own, but the fact that they spawn a hard-to-see enemy without the life vision goggles makes encounters very difficult. I'm probably going to get some shit for this, but I'm going to put them in A tier. If you kill one, they'll always drop their own pistol, the Bag 82. It's said to be a strange experimental caseless pistol created by an ancient civilization. Foul loader. Who knows where it's been. This is another real-life experimental weapon that was never put into mass production, called the VAG-72, a Russian pistol. Only one of these pistols were ever made by its creator, Soviet engineer Vladimir Gerasimenko. Shit.
Vladimir
Gerasimenko. This was back in 1972, but there was also a VAG-73 made just a year later that was fully automatic, but again, only one of them exists. Both of these can be found in the Artillery Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia. Now, for comparison, if the 1970s are being referred to as an ancient civilization, Cruelty Squad must be thousands, if not tens of thousands of years into the future. Despite having no laser sight, it's an incredibly accurate semi-auto pistol and has a huge ammo pool of 36 rounds a clip. At the cost, though, of not having a silencer like the starting pistol. I'll put it in C tier, mostly because of its lack of armor penetration and making the room go crazy the second you fire a round. Going even deeper into the mines, we can find the source of the meat. The walls become fleshy, with acidic bile pooling below. It feels like we're inside something. Pillars of flesh rise up and down, almost resembling a machine. Inside one of these flesh pits, we can find the flower chute. It's a head implant that, once used, will work as a parachute, slowly letting the player land to negate any kind of fall damage. It's a decent item for people that still can't get to grips with the gripendix, or more importantly, don't understand how gravity works, even in real life. But the real ability of the flower is how it stacks your momentum. If you remember the Icaros machine implant that gives you ridiculous jump height, it was discontinued because it would splatter anyone below into a fine paste. Well, now you can do that with no risk of death for yourself. Regardless of that, I've never really used it. Put it in C tier. It's funny, but it's not really essential. What's more interesting, though, are its lore implications. The description stating a skull-shaped flower of extraterrestrial origin. It could be possible that the flower enemies you've seen dotted across the maps aren't actually the result of splicing, but instead some kind of extraterrestrial infection that took over a once human's body. When you kill a flower or give it, it will drop human organs and has no unique organs of its own, like a psycho or necromech. Some of the walls inside the fleshy mass gnash like teeth. You'd think you'd die being crushed like so many other video games, but in typical Cruelty Squad fashion, just to be bitter for the sake of it, you don't die, but instead you're pushed out of the map entirely, which, unless you know how to get back into the map, which you probably don't, you'd have to restart. Getting into the main target's room, we can finally talk to Michael Brain, looking much like the other flesh rat infected humans, but instead wearing a purple shirt. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any unique dialogue compared to the other fleshmen in the level, so you won't get any lore out of him. But the fact his name is Michael Brain must mean something. He's the CEO of Godhead Industries, a company the handler himself looks up to. Heavy industry literally meaning bigger size for everything. Bigger buildings, machine tools, and overall large-scale infrastructure, usually having significant side effects with health risks as heavy industry leads to immense amounts of pollution. For example, heavy metals that can't be chemically downgraded, so they lead to massive damage to the environment. A perfect company for this game's universe, where the cost of life is so low and profits are everything. Michael Brain literally was the brain behind Godhead, and one of the cornerstones of supporting this current world and ensuring its continued existence of profit and pain. But that leads into an even bigger question. Why did the handler want his biggest idol dead? Well, like he said himself, even though he was a great guy, he became a bit of a flake. The next mainline mission is set for the most part at a casino.
The corporate arch demon Elsa Holmes recently spent an evening at the esteemed Fatberg Casino and somehow managed to lose the entirety of her vacation bonus. She has been seething mad ever since then and wants revenge. If this was anyone else we'd just laugh it off, but since it is her, I'll have to do something about it. That is go and murder the owner of the casino in his office. You should try some of the slot machines while you read her. They were absolutely breathtaking.
We already know this universe has people in it who take being above the rest to the next level. That being said, I still love how instead of robbing the place to get a bonus back, we're resorting to killing the owner instead. Someone who is probably just doing their job, even if that is scamming people out of their money. You could easily imagine places like casinos still thriving in a world like this because most people, being nigh immortal, they're probably incredibly bored. Outside, you can see a huge rotating sign with the casino's name, and the casino itself, comedically enough, seems to be based on an open sewer, with the wallpapers being sewer grates and streams of sewage cutting through the casino. The name Fatberg is the name given to waste in a sewer that forms with non-biodegradable materials like wet wipes, oils, and fats, becoming these rock-like masses that block up sewers called fatbergs. Talking to the attendants, they'll usually cope how this is part of the design.
Interior design is all about minimal Scandinavian sewers right now. It's so elegant.
Now, if you wanted to, you can follow the handler's advice and go to the casino floor and try some of the slots. Usually, the result is you win $10, $100, or you lose and get nothing, with each slot machine being $10 to play. Honestly, you'll be hard-pressed to make a profit unless you run around spamming every single slot machine like a complete degenerate. So basically how most Twitch streamers used to play slots before the mass extinction event. Now, I thought the money you won would be immediately added into your account until I turned around and realized the machines actually eject your winnings on the floor as coins that you need to run around and pick up. So if you win a lot of money, enjoy looking on the ground and pressing the R key over and over and over again for the next 5 minutes. There's a couple of slot machines unique to the Fatberg Casino. Firstly, the meat slot machine. You can put in $10 like any normal slot machine. Your odds of winning are much higher. The only problem is everything you win is basically useless. The machine will spit out random props like computer monitors, bins, potted plants, and assorted body parts, not even dropping any organs for you to resell. But hey, at least you're winning something, right? But there's one more slot machine that the patrons speak very highly of.
I heard the jackpot from the gun machine is very powerful. Some kind of advanced super weapon.
Sat on its own special platform, you can try your luck for $10. The slot machine will start to spit out randomly generated weapons. Now, this is a great way to pick up some weapons I've mentioned before, but you didn't actually get a chance to. Especially armor-piercing ones like the rocket launcher. But we're not here for that. We want the jackpot. The jackpot gun has around a 1 in 500 chance of spawning out of the machine. That is 0.2% chance. So you'll either luck out and get it in the first couple minutes, or it'll take you several hours like it did for me. The problem is, though, the longer you take to win, the bigger the pile of guns that are ejected becomes. So you can't just run an auto clicker and let it do the work for you, because if the gun is ejected, it'll be instantly lost in the world's smallest pile of guns at an American school. Finally getting our hands on it, this is the Zippy 3000. Hours or maybe even days of your life, you'd be rewarded with something truly amazing. But then you realize you're playing Cruelty Squad, and you read the weapon description, and even that doesn't have anything nice to say about the gun. The ultimate weapon. In ejection failures and misfires. You'll be lucky to even get 2 shots out of this thing without blowing off your fingers. Ironically, much like how you won it, you're basically playing a numbers game every time you press the trigger. The Zippy has a 1 in 3 chance to fire, a 1 in 3 chance to fail to fire, meaning nothing happens, and a 1 in 3 chance to misfire and hit you, dealing 1 point of damage. It's not like the gun is even armor piercing or strong in general. It uses 22 long ammo. The same type of ammo Jesse Pinkman used in El Camino and got roasted for.
You brought a 22? Jesus. I mean, we got empty beer cans around here. If you want to do some planking.
Much like how Jesse did, you can shoot an unarmored enemy in the head and probably kill them. But the Parasonic D2, the game's starting pistol, could do that anyway, and better. It would never jam, and it had a built-in laser sight. This is the part where I'm supposed to say the weapon becomes powerful later on or has some secret ability against a specific enemy, but there's nothing. It is a literal meme weapon. It's based on the real-life USFA Zip-22, a gun that was a commercial failure due to having a myriad of malfunctions. You will find this gun all over YouTube videos calling it the worst gun ever. And firing it close up, the bullet casing doesn't even properly eject and gets stuck inside the chamber.
The bolt is not actually touching the cartridge case.
There is no real use for this gun except purposefully handicapping yourself. Someone actually uploaded a video called Cruelty Squad Zippy Only Run, but if it malfunctions, the video ends. And if you're wondering, the video is 30 seconds. F tier.
You know the zippy gun that you added? That I didn't know that was a real gun, and then I saw a video of a guy testing it, and it fucking misfired like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's such a dog shit gun.
It's so rare to actually get from like a slot machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually test how rare it is. Like I've never actually got any myself.
You never got the zippy?
Yeah.
I've talked a lot about the casino, but not really much about the enemy presence. That's because there isn't too many enemies in this mission, if you don't know where to look. The casino floor has a few patrolling guards looking similar to the Cruelty Squad agents that attacked you in the apartment, but these ones are much weaker, named Assassin in the map files again. They use an auto shotgun as well, but they can be killed with a pretty well-placed headshot. The funny thing is, if you boot up the HQ level, you can actually see these guys walking around casually. They're fairly easy to deal with. But they gain a huge advantage when you start to go through the lounges and get to your target, especially at one point where the entire floor gives way, ambushing you with a collection of pretty much every single enemy you've fought in previous levels. Now, even though they gave me the jump in the apartment, I didn't rank them then because there was only 2 of them, and they're very tanky, but then ones you encounter in future levels aren't as tanky, so I don't know, overall C tier. If you plan ahead, they're fairly easy to deal with. The casino owner camped in their office is armed, so can't be spoken to. But one thing to know is how he's a psyker, which, if you think about it, is kind of genius. Placing someone with psychic powers as the head of a place where people can be easily manipulated. With how the lounges are situated above the casino floor, it makes me think that there's been many instances that this casino boss has been watching above, manipulating people to bet all of their money just to increase his own profit. Killing the boss uniquely changes the level, because as soon as you do, the Cult of Order are called in to respond. Probably because this directly hurts their budget more than anything. They show up outside in force, they're fairly easy to deal with, but you can always just slip out through the back through the sewers to escape the encounter entirely. Idiot Party is when you finally start to move up in the world. You're not just tanky, but then ones you encounter in future levels aren't as tanky, so I don't know. Instances more than anything. They show up sewers to escape the world's richest secret to Idiot Party is when you finally start to move up in the world. You're not just killing successful millionaires now, but billionaires and maybe even trillionaires. There's been many conspiracies that the global elite meet in secret to form meetings and even rituals. Cruelty Squad confirms this by having the world's richest meet up anonymously in red costumes, and most of them being complete idiots.
It's that time again. The elites from all over the world gather at the Rothenburg Fortress and wear their stupid rubber suits and masks. Don't you think it would be really funny if you went there and killed them all? Just fucked them up completely. Imagine their faces behind those masks. If you gored their hypnotist right in front of them. Oh my god, you should really do it, don't you think? I mean, why not? It would really make your day. They read automatons. They have no souls. Think about it.
Firstly, this mission takes place, again, in a real-life location, the Rothenburg Fortress. This is a fortress in Germany that was built as early as the 1300s. It's a fairly low-level construction, and the level mimics that, being nothing more than a few stone walls on the outside. But inside, there's a huge network of rooms leading hundreds of feet into the ground. Secondly, the handler's description of the mission is much more unhinged than any previous description. The objective on the bottom right is usually to kill, liquidate, annihilate, gut, remove, or murder the target. But here, here, the description is acquire, control, unlimited power. This isn't Cruelty Squad being subcontracted anymore. The handler himself wants you to target the elites while they all meet, so he or you can slurp up all the remaining power. The idiot party itself is split up between two groups of people wearing rubber suits. Firstly, the non-hostile members in red. These are the secret world leaders who will usually comment on how easy it is to even join the cult.
Tired of people calling this a secret society. Anyone can join if they merely deposit the yearly $1 billion membership fee. Sorry, what did you say? I was thinking about controlled depopulation. There's far too many of us on this planet. No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. Oh my, I know it's plebeian, but I simply love popular culture.
And then some of the other, even more stupid ones will mistake you for someone else entirely.
Please go to the changing room and get dressed. Looking at your body, I assume you're one of the blue uniforms? Do as I say.
The blue rubber uniform people are the security at the event. These guys are a mix of all the previous enemies in the game. Some have snipers and skirts, like the snipers in the Swamp Cult. Some carry around AMGs, like the Necromechs would use. To carry around these huge guns, they had to hit the gym, probably with the help of several tubs of smelling salt. I think that's why their models are slightly altered, having a huge pumped up chest. There's also more traditional patrolling security, but they're armed with a new gun. The Spectacular Dynamics MCR carbine, an incredibly fast firing gun with armor piercing. Although when using it, it has the accuracy and recoil